We start for the Ring magazine. Delighted today to be joined here in Riyadh with Eddie Hearn. Just a little mention on IFL there. Appreciate that.
There you go, mate.
I'm not sure I'm a Ring ambassador, but I'm definitely a Ring employee.
Everybody else is, so you might as well be.
Happy to join the club.
Hope you're being paid accordingly.
Yeah, of course.
As a Ring ambassador.
Of course, yeah. But yeah, how are you? How's things?
I'm good. I was in New York with His Excellency and a few of the team. A few meetings, and then made my way here. It's a long way from New York, to be fair.
It's about 15 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, time zone's interesting, but just excited to be back in Riyadh.
Yeah.
Got here this afternoon. Now we're about to do the presser. Weigh in tomorrow. Good fight card Saturday. Sneaky good. Some really, really good fights. And I think we'll get a great night.
I wanted to touch on Ray Ford. Obviously taking on Abraham Nova. Ray's been a bit vocal about being a bit frustrated at 130. Feels like other people that have moved up in weight have got more opportunities than him. I guess important on Saturday to make a statement against Nova, which
I think so.
ideal.
I think, look, Lee Wood said it in an interview, like, you just wouldn't really be putting your hand up to fight Ray Ford. He's very skilled, very talented. You know, he's spiteful, and he's very, very good. And I think the way that you get people to fight him is obviously to be part of these big cards, but also just to look spectacular. I think we've done a good job keeping him nice and active, but yeah, at some point you've got to take that big challenge for a world title. Obviously, I feel like we've got the best 230 pounders in the world with Sugar Nunes and Ray Ford. I think that's a great fight. Part of me would also like to see Ray Ford against O'Shaki Foster. Those two have got good beef. But we need to get Ray a world title fight, and a great performance I think would help us do that.
Why do you think Ray thinks that you're like trying to keep him away from Sugar?
I just think like, I don't know, like Ray's in a good way. Sometimes Ray can have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. You know, he can be a little bit surly sometimes, and every now and again I have to remind him that, like I said, he's been nice and active, been getting paid well, but that's good and that's important, but he's got every right to call out a shot at the world title. He won the world title in a Fight of the Year contender. He lost a razor-thin decision to Nick Ball. He really deserves another shot at the world title. It's just that when you're as good as Ray, you've got to put that performance together where everyone says, I want to see Ray Ford beat Nunes. And that is a great fight that I think can be one of the best in the division. Yeah,
just wanted to quickly touch on Itauma Whyte. Your thoughts on that fight?
A really good fight. I mean, I think, look, I've seen Dillian sort of come out firing this week because everybody's giving him no chance in the fight, and I do pick Moses to win the fight, but I think it would be wrong to rule him out. I mean, he's a very tough man, he's a good fighter, and he's got plenty of dog in him. The inactivity is a problem, the age is a problem, maybe a few injuries are problems, but you've got to really do the two things that we don't know about Moses. How good's his chin, and what's he like when it gets really tough? Maybe he's fine on both accounts. But I think Dillian could be the guy to do it. I think the early rounds are going to be a big problem for Dillian. I think if he can get into the fight, I think it could be interesting. But it's not going to be easy. Yeah,
just sticking on the topic of the heavyweight division, I saw Frank Smith and Freddie Cunningham in Accra this week, having a look at a nice stadium there. Anything to report from that, I guess, AJ-wise?
Yeah, I mean, nothing major, only that we have been to Ghana. We have had an approach there to stage a major event in Africa. We would love to do it.
Would it be Yoka, the ideal opponent?
I keep getting asked that question. I mean, he's probably on a list. There's no negotiations. Like, I wouldn't even say he's a front runner. But yeah, I mean, I just keep getting asked that question non-stop. For me, my focus right now is probably more to make the Jake Paul fight. You know, I've been speaking to Nikisa most days. I do really think there's a big desire from both teams to make that happen. The ultimate decision is going to come from Jake because we're in, basically, and we've discussed how the terms would work. You know, obviously, there's some conversations around broadcasters and stuff like that, but if they want it, it's going to happen. So I'll probably steer towards that, but I would love to do an event in Africa, and it would definitely be a nice option to have.
What about Andre Ward? Another one.
Another one who called him out. Yeah, look, Andre Ward's an amazing fight. I don't think that fight has the same kind of, you know, as a Fury fight or certainly a Jake Paul fight. But listen, Andre Ward was a great fighter. I'm sure there's some people from a few years back that would love to see that fight. I don't see it happening, but never say never.
What's going on? Like, what is all these AJ call-outs like?
Great. I mean, like I just said, you know, ultimately he's still the money man. You know, everybody knows it, and it's not a boast. Like, everybody wants to fight AJ because, one, they think they can beat him, and two, he generates the most money. So, like, that's why Jake, if he weren't a big draw, Jake Paul wouldn't be talking about him. But for some reason, Jake Paul thinks he can win the fight. And that's why we're here.
It's crazy. I want to touch on Jaron Ennis' return to Philadelphia October 11th against Wisma Lima. Your thoughts on the reception, because it feels like UK side were happy with it, American side they're
because look, if you know Lima,
yeah,
you know it's a great fight. If you don't know Lima, you go Lima who? That's how it works.
Yeah.
The reality is we needed a fight at 154 that was going to test Jaron Ennis, and Lima beats 90% of the people we approach. 8 fighters turned this down for massive money. No one wants to fight Jaron Ennis, but Lima will. He's top 10 with 3 governing bodies. He's, I think, 10 on BoxRec. He's the IBO world champion. This is a WBA final eliminator. This is a brilliant fight. But you get lazy journalists who go, "Oh, Lima's a bit disappointed." It's like, have you ever watched him? No, I mean, I've seen his record. It's like, well, do you know that in his last, I think, 3 fights, he went into the away corner for undefeated guys and turned them over? He's a serious fighter, and I want someone that's coming to win. And Lima will give us a great fight.
Do you feel like the patience runs thin with Jaron Ennis though? Because many people feel like, for a guy who's 34-0, barring maybe Stanionis.
Yeah, but he's just coming off.
Yeah.
He fought the best welterweight in the world,
exactly,
bar him, in a big unification, won that. Yeah. Now we're moving up to 54, and the team said, look, we're going to be in massive fights at 54. We would like one fight before we fight Ortiz, Crawford, whoever signs up to take the fight. But after Lima, God willing we come through that, he will fight anybody. And he's signed to do it within his extension with us. So, I'm relaxed, and I know it's going to be a great fight. This isn't a knockover job in a round. This is a proper tough fight that will let Boots have a camp at 54 and prepare himself for the biggest moments of his career.
Yeah. You mentioned Vergil Ortiz Jr. there, which you said that Boots signed to fight in our interview on Friday, but Vergil Ortiz Sr. come on to it, and I just wanted to read out what he said. He put, "I didn't know Eddie Hearn was Vergil's manager and told Vergil when he fights. I haven't heard anything that's not, hey Vergil, you fight my guy when I want. That shit sold twice. Vergil was on his own path no matter who anyone says. No waiting for anyone anymore."
It doesn't have to wait for anyone. Yeah. We had a meeting with Golden Boy where we talked about the terms of the fight, which are very straightforward.
Is Vergil Jr. on terms with that though? Like, is he aware of?
I've not. That's not from. I don't. Yeah. He's right. I'm not his promoter or his manager.
Yeah.
But we had discussions with DAZN and Golden Boy, brilliant discussions, and Golden Boy were right up for it. We're all moving forward, trying to make the best fights in boxing. We went away, and Jaron Ennis signed for the fight on the terms that were discussed. Okay, we all said to DAZN, we're going to fight in October, and then we'll do the fight in January, February, whenever you want. Ortiz, you're going to fight in October, and you do the fight. So I can't control whether Ortiz will fight Boots. And when I said to you the other day, it got construed. I said, we've signed. Yeah. So everyone says the fight's signed. I didn't say that. I said, we have signed our end.
Yeah.
This isn't about goading. This isn't about saying, but if you don't want to take the fight, don't give it the big one and tell us, oh, we're not waiting on Boots. You don't have to wait on Boots. DAZN have said they'll give you a fight in October. You're talking to Thurman or whoever else you're talking to, and then we'll do the fight. We're in. All you've got to do is sign for that fight now. It's done. So we'll see if Vergil Ortiz really wants to fight Boots.
Okay. Has there been more conversation with Shakur Stevenson over potential extension?
No, not really. I mean, I think that there'll be a lot coming out. We'll see. My situation is I'm exclusive to DAZN.
Yeah.
So if a fighter makes a fight, for example, on Netflix, that's not a fight that I can be involved with. So there are obviously a lot of interesting conversations around at the moment, and we'll see which way it goes.
Yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on the situation between Dimitri Bivol. Obviously, he had, I might say, back surgery, back surgery, which then Artur Beterbiev got announced to be out on November 22nd. Where does this leave the landscape of a potential trilogy between them two?
Well, I think they're talking about Beterbiev against Benavidez, which is another great fight. I mean, you don't undergo serious back surgery just for a laugh. It was an operation that was needed. It was a bad injury, and that's why we couldn't fight in November. Yeah. Dimitri's looking to get back in the ring as soon as possible, but also wants the challenges in his career. I think he would like to fight Benavidez. He really wants to run it back with Canelo. Maybe a move, as I said, to cruiserweight to fight Jai Opetaia. I don't know, but I don't think Dimitri's really just mad on having any old fight. I think he's a pound for pound top 5 fighter. He wants the biggest fights out there. So he'll be ready, and he will be you know, against the very best in his division or up at cruiserweight.
Would you say, like, realistically, like a trilogy would be in like the rearview mirror then, potentially?
No, I think it could happen easily. He could, you know, he could fight Beterbiev, he could fight Benavidez, he could fight Canelo, he could fight Opetaia. You know, you got Callum Smith against Morrell, maybe the winner of that fight. I don't know. But I don't think he's just interested in taking like a voluntary defence against a top 15 guy. He had that for a long time during his career.
Yeah, you mentioned Opetaia there, and what is the latest with him? Obviously, we know there was the Zurdo fight, and I think remember previously in an interview you said to me that you'd agreed that basically.
Yeah. We agreed our end.
Your end, yeah, that's right.
But obviously, Zurdo has an operation which he's undertook. I don't think he's going to be ready till, you know, later on next year, or certainly later on, as in beginning of next year. So Jai needs to fight. He does have a mandatory with the IBF, but we'd much rather see him in a unification fight. It's very frustrating, but hopefully that can evolve.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, cool. Andy Cruz's birthday the other day. Celebrated his birthday. We know that there was obviously the Murataya fight was in the pipeline. Is it still?
Yeah, it was really disappointing because again, we agreed our deal with Ring Magazine. Yeah. And their deal fell apart at the final stage. So the IBF are going to call that mandatory very soon, and I believe that'll be next for Andy. Yeah,
literally just popped into my mind now, but obviously the news come out this morning of Sandoval versus Yafai getting ordered. I spoke to Maurizio Suleiman, and another thing he also mentioned about the Texas Commission test that was failed. He said that was only from THC, so which he said that the WBC don't recognise that in their clean testing program as a performance enhancing drug. So I guess is that situation.
Yeah, I didn't say that he failed his test for performance enhancing drug. I actually said it was for marijuana as well.
Yeah, okay.
Apologies. It is two back-to-back.
He was trying to say it wasn't really though, because the WBC didn't recognise it.
But the commission did. They banned him for 6 months.
Yeah. Okay, that's
so But you know, on the night he's in competition. Out of competition, that's not recognised as a banned substance. Okay. He failed on the night, so. It is what it is. I think the WBC have made a great decision.
Yeah. Richardson Hitchens as well. Any?
Nothing at the moment. But you know, Keith Connolly, I believe, is here. Probably catch up with him this week. Yeah.
Final one from myself. Are we going to see Dalton Smith against Subriel Matias on for November?
We're waiting on His Excellency. I mean, he announced that fight in the ring. We're in again. You know, but Subriel Matias has got to be in. So these guys have got to, you know, just. I'll say be greedy because, you know, they deserve to get the max, but you've got to be sensible. And that fight's ready to be made. But the WBC have called it, and purse bids will be soon.
Of course, good stuff, Eddie. Appreciate your time. Thanks, mate.